Well, in a little while, this place is going to be converted into an imaginary day spa, fit to accommodate one 10-year-old birthday girl and 11 other young friends for nail painting, facials, and pedicures. My daughter's going to be in high heaven, and I must be out of my mind, but I love it. And as I prepare for her birthday celebration, I realize that I too have a milestone birthday approaching, and it's a great chance to reflect back on the first 50 years of my life. I'm a pretty simple-minded guy. I grew up in a small, rural, southern Illinois town called Valmeyer, population 900. It literally was Mayberry. It was a community where everyone knew everyone and we all looked out for each other. Valmeyer was located in a floodplain 3 miles off the Mississippi River. And because it was on a floodplain, that meant no one else could move into town unless somebody died or somebody moved out. So we really did know everyone. It was a great town. I loved it. I grew up with the dream of playing baseball someday for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I couldn't wait to someday bring my family back to the town I grew up in and grew to love. When I was growing up, the average family had 4 kids. Of course, we weren't your average family. We had 11. My oldest brother is 18 years older than my youngest brother, which means my mom changed diapers for 20 years straight. A lot of people may not know this, but I have a twin brother named Ricky, not identical. My twin brother was very social, much more popular than me. I was a good kid. I was very quiet though. In fact, in high school, I was voted the shyest kid in our class. Financially, we were poor. My mom, of course, was a homemaker. My dad was a World War II veteran who eventually ran the hardware store in town until he became disabled because of his heart. Which means we didn't have much money growing up. We qualified for free lunches at school. We always wore hand-me-downs. We never took a vacation. We never ate out. We didn't have much, but it taught me everything. We had love and humor, and in many ways, I learned to use humor as my survival mechanism for good or bad. When you don't have much, it forces you to be creative. And for anyone who knows me well knows I thrive on creativity. As kids, we would spend hours creating skits, stories, music, commercials, comics. I have a real good appreciation for what it means to have nothing and yet love life. And in a lot of ways, it shaped who I am today. We were a big Catholic family. We never missed church. In fact, you walk out the front door, turn right, and the church was half block down the street. So I was very grateful for my upbringing with regard to the values and the morals. However, I never completely understood heaven or what happens when you die. In fact, back in 1969, when Neil Armstrong first set foot on the moon, every kid, myself included, wanted to be an astronaut. And the more I thought about it as a kid, my mind just couldn't grasp what was beyond the moon, what was beyond outer space. In fact, 10 years later, my dad had open heart surgery in 1979, which was a big deal back then. Unfortunately, he ended up dying on the operating table, and it was the first real experience I ever had with death. I was 17. And as a result, I entered early adulthood guessing at what it meant to be a man. And as rough as my dad's death was, an even more traumatic event occurred 10 months later than that. My best friend, Gary Tipton, who I'd known since I was 3, was killed in a car accident, and it rocked my world. We had grown up doing everything together. We played ball, swam, biked, and now he was gone. After coming home from the funeral, I remember specifically being haunted by 2 questions. 1, where's he at now? And 2, what if this happens to me? And I couldn't shake those 2 questions from my mind, and those questions intensified 7 months later when my twin brother's best friend, Scott Wirtz, was also killed in a car accident. At that point, I didn't know what to think. I had a lot of questions. And in the Bible, God essentially is saying, if you seek me, you will find me. And I was in heavy seeking mode. I was looking for truth, and I wanted answers. My twin brother and I attended separate colleges, but after his friend died, I decided to transfer to his school, Eastern Illinois University. That summer, 1981, I ended up rooming with a guy who was reading his Bible all the time, something I had never done. Well, before the summer was over, I had my own Bible, and I was all over it looking for truth. And for the first time, I came to understand my own sin and my need for a Savior. I came to understand the story of Jesus and how he died for my sins, and that I couldn't earn my way to heaven. And in July of 1981, all alone in my college dorm room, I knelt down by my bed and asked Jesus into my life for the first time. And that's the good news. The not so good news is that I really didn't have a mentor or a support group or a church to lead me. And as a result, I roamed through life, continuing to guess for the next 10 years. And to be honest, a lot of times I was guessing wrong. After graduating from college in business, I worked in sales and insurance for years, and for the first time in my life, I made decent money, and I was enjoying life. I knew I was saved, but I wasn't really serious about living out that faith to the fullest. Well, at that point, more trials began to enter my life. I experienced a broken engagement, which was gut-wrenching. In fact, it led me to my knees where I surrendered my life to God at that point. I decided to get serious about attending a church, reading my Bible regularly, and praying regularly. I wanted to do whatever it took to make my walk with God my number one priority. Shortly after that, the flood of 1993 ended up wiping my hometown, Valmeyer, off the map. And my dream of bringing my kids home to my hometown area was never going to be realized. But I realized that nothing in this world, not even towns, lasts forever. By now I was in my early 30s and doing well in my career, but found myself searching more for significance versus success. I was attending Fellowship and using my creativity and love for kids to serve in Crosstown, where I eventually came on staff in 1998. The same year I got married to my wife, Joy. We now have 2 wonderful kids, and it seems like out of everything I do, I consider nothing more important than being a good husband, a terrific father, and a spiritual leader of our family. I know that some people look at my life and think, oh, he's got it all together. And I can only laugh and think about what I've been through. And I wonder, does anyone ever really have it all together? I've learned to hold on loosely to the things of this world. I know what it means to lose a father, a friend, a town, a dream. But I also know what it means to have a Savior who's always there for me. He's never changing, and He's always providing for me. Sometimes things don't go the way I want to in life, but I know that many are the plans of man, but it's God's will that will always prevail. I once heard it said that pain is God's way of getting your attention. So when things don't go my way, I try to condition my mind to think, with God as my rock, I'm going to draw close to Him and see what He's got in mind this time. And as hard as it is, I try to fix my eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal. In the meantime, I'm going to invest myself in others and enjoy every step of the way, no matter where it leads me. Now, how about a manicure?